Yeah, never before will I ever say in those movies where they're like, here's a map and we're zooming in on our location. I will never mock that ever again. Ever.
Yeah, now you're like,
because
I know where we are.
This supposedly takes place in Britain, and it's just like, here's a location, here's some random castle. I'm like, where's this? Like, how is it? How can we walk? Is that walking distance or what?
Right,
like
is it 2 days ride? Is that what? How far is this? Hello, welcome to the HolmFront, where we keep everything objectively subjective. I'm a little dark here. All right. Okay.
We're back.
We're back with Pendragon. I didn't intend to continue on this, but it got a significant amount of views compared to some of our other stuff, so I figured, why not? We'll make it a mini and go from there.
It's becoming an entertainingly bad show to watch. It's uniquely bad. That always makes it.
And we're trying to start
enjoyable.
off the bat, just letting you know, we don't like this show. So
no.
If you like this show, it's fine. Tell us why. This is not a good show. It just isn't.
This does not work at all.
It's terrible.
And it is fun to kind of break down episode by episode. When we started watching it, you're like, let's try one more. And I was like, all right. So we're going through it, and like 45 minutes in, and I'm like, I don't know anything. Like, I don't understand anything that's happening. That's like the biggest problem this show has. It's just like, it's incomprehensible. Like, I don't know why like, there's literally a scene in this where characters are talking in a room, and then someone like slams their fist on the table and is like, we're here to do this. And I was like, okay, that helps. That helps me kind of piece together what we're doing here. It should not be this hard to follow, but when your characters are distinct from one another, it's a lot easier. When you know their motivations, like, that's what they keep messing up. So I just don't know what anybody wants out of any given situation. And so I'm just like, okay, what is this for?
I think I've got an overarching understanding of motivation to some extent. But here's the thing. So, and I say this because I actually have a problem with this. I just finished the second draft of a novel of mine, and one of my initial problems, and
with your own story,
with my own story. Poor Mitch, I drag him through the mud with this thing.
I've read it like 100 times. The first chapter I've read at least 100 times.
At least 1,000. Is that I would try, like, in my head, my world's real rich, right? I've got all the pieces flowing, and I want to put as much of that world on the page as possible. But every time I throw it to you, you're like, dude, I'm so overwhelmed. I don't know what I'm, like, there's just too much going on. And for me, it makes sense because, like, I know why those pieces would be there. But for someone who's picking it up who doesn't have the full picture of the world, it doesn't make much sense because you're just like, who's that? Where's this? What's going on? What's their history? Why do I care right now? What? You got to build up.
Yeah, never before will I ever say in those movies where they're like, here's a map and we're zooming in on our location. I will never mock that ever again. Ever.
Yeah, now you're like,
because
I know where we are.
This supposedly takes place in Britain, and it's just like, here's a location, here's some random castle. I'm like, where's this? Like, how is it? How can we walk? Is that walking distance or what?
Right,
like,
is it 2 days ride? Is that what? How far is this? But yeah, you'll just see the establishing shot of the castle, and you're like, all right, cool. Is this a week later? How long we've been traveling? Like, is this important? Have we been here before? I don't recognize this castle. They're not as distinctly different either as something like Lord of the Rings, like,
or even Game of Thrones,
which are probably more similar than Lord of the Rings. But yeah, like when you have Rohan and Gondor, like, you're like, I have no question where we are.
Even Helm's Deep and Edoras are very distinct from one another.
Exactly. So yeah, it's very confusing where we are at a given point, what's going on. From what I understand of the so there's two brothers. There's Aurelius and there's Uther.
Oh, they're brothers.
They're brothers. Oh, you haven't caught that yet. It's cool. Well, it's all right.
Sorry, I swear to God, I was trying.
I
didn't realize
had a large gap of watching. We watched the first two episodes first, and I could tell. I was like, they're gonna do a jump here, so maybe episode 3 will tone things down because they're trying to cram less information into an episode. It did. It got better, but not a whole lot.
Yeah,
it's still too vague. It's not quite like when you're watching something like Last Kingdom, relegated down to one character. You have no preconceived notions of what his, or no delusions of what his motivations are.
Yeah,
they're
he wants to get Bevenberg.
wants to get back to Bemberg.
Right, because that's his
it.
heirloom. So yeah, he wants to reclaim
That's
that.
his birthright.
Yeah.
And now everybody realizes his value as a warrior and what he is, and they manipulate him. And that's the whole show, is him fighting against people that have the ability to give him something, but they're taking something from him.
Yeah.
And that's the crux of the show. And so everybody connects with Uhtred because they want him to get what he wants because he deserves that, but everyone's just preventing him because of what they can get out of him. And that's the show.
Oh.
Really simple.
Yeah.
Phenomenal.
You summed that up nicely.
Thanks.
I was like, yeah, I agree with that.
With this show, I agree. Thanks. With this show, you have Merlin, who apparently has some kind of history that is super vague. You know what who his parents are, because they're the first 2 episodes. Yeah, 2 episodes. And apparently those are like, I think it's a book. So the 2 episodes try and convalesce a book's worth of information. Now, I have not read the books, and I understand that I'm going to get some flack for that. But look, they made it into a show, and the show's supposed to be accessible for those that haven't read the books also.
Right.
I haven't read the books. I should still be able to understand what's going on.
It's understandable if maybe you miss like a detail here and there, but we're not talking about minor details. We're talking about like you could go 40 minutes and just be like, what's going on?
Right.
What are we doing?
Overall, when you look back, it's like, okay, I get what the overarching thing is, but in the moment, it's really hard to follow. So the overarching thing, just so everybody understands that I know what's going on in the show.
I don't care. I don't know.
But
help me.
2 brothers have the birthright to Britain, and
Okay.
they've killed the High King, so they're now trying to establish themselves against the Saxon armies that are trying to invade.
Okay.
So the beginning of the episode starts with them talking about how they have to build an army. And they establish that Uther and Merlin are going to go out and go across all of Britain.
I remember that.
And build up these armies. So they're recruiting people. And they have to deal with everybody's already established allegiances or pride or whatever. So they go to
that's a good summation.
Yes, so now you like kind of understand with that high view of a thing, right? But you also have stuff like Morgan is in this.
Yeah.
And she's trying to establish herself somehow. I think her son is trying to establish some kind of claim. I gotta be honest with you. I wasn't too engaged with all of her points. I really like her.
I was
as a
engaged
character.
entirely whenever she was on screen.
Okay.
Completely. Because she was just the quintessential smoking hot witch. And I was like, you know what? So that part I actually got. That made sense to me.
But you didn't even know it was her son that she kissed in the end.
Well,
these are the things I'm talking about.
But she kissed him on the lips, so I still don't.
After
think
running her fingers up his chest, I was like, "This is so uncomfortable."
Yeah, so I'm still. I don't think she meant son as in like birth son. I think she meant.
She did. I think she did. I don't like. Don't like. But here's the thing.
Well,
I think she has 2. I think he's the older son, and I think the kid that they show in the beginning, like beating the crab to death. He's evil because he killed something. That's how you know.
It was very heavy-handed. If it wasn't so heavy-handed, it would have been more effective. But it was kind of like a good moment at first, and then it was like, "See, he's evil," and I was like,
bad.
"Oh, that's the intent of the scene. I got it now."
Tom Riddle or Vecna, whatever.
Yeah.
So I think he's supposed to be Mordred at some point.
Okay.
That's what I'm assuming.
That would make sense.
Now, like I said, I have not read the books by Lawhead. I understand certain bits of the Arthurian legend, so that's what I'm picking up. And all of, like, stylistically, I liked all of her scenes. And I actually, at the end of the episode, we'll get into, like, what we wish the show was based on the things that they put in.
Yeah.
But for now, let's start with Aurelius. So this is the older brother of the 2, which is supposed to be the High King. So he's the one toting around in what we believe to be Excalibur. He stays behind the Atlanteans and sends his brother and Merlin off to go accomplish this task, right? And while he has nothing to do at the castle, he's just hanging out with Merlin's hot mom and being like, "Look, I got nothing else to do, and it seems like there's some wounded people in here. What's happening to him?" She's like, "Well, our lands are getting raided by these raiders." And he's like, "All right, well, I don't like raiders much. So let's Let's go kill him. And she's like, well, we can't do that. We're not allowed to do that. And he goes, well, I want to, so I'm going to do it alone if I have to. So they're trying to establish like this sense of virtue in him.
Mm-hmm.
And then she's like, well, we'll bend the rules. She's like, we can't bring an army with us, but I can bring my personal, guardsmen or whatever while we go on a ride. And so this guy, this king, this Atlantean king who's got a castle, is just allowing his lands to be raided and not doing anything about it. Because she even says, she's like, we can't leave my father's lands. So it's like, this is happening in your boundaries.
Yeah.
Why are you not doing? Later on in the episode, he establishes, well, we don't have the men to deal with it, and it's like, okay, let me break down some flaws in your theory here. First, Aurelius just charges at these. It's like 20 men. Let's say probably more, but let's be conservative. It's about 20 men raiding this village.
Mm-hmm.
He just charges in alone.
Yeah.
The Atlantean princess is like, well, I can't help. I told him already. If he's going to go do it, he's going to do it himself.
Yeah.
Charges in alone. He finds the chieftain or whatever, and they get into this really badly choreographed fight. Loses his sword immediately.
That was ridiculous.
It was so stupid.
He lets his horse get killed. I was like, come on, man.
Immediately. He doesn't do anything.
In the previous episode, I do remember him being victorious and thinking like, wow, he seems like a pretty competent leader.
Yeah.
Now he's just a total buffoon. What a waste.
So he goes in and loses. And he's about to get killed. And then she shows up and shoots the chieftain.
Yeah, with an arrow.
The Atlantean princess. And he looks over, and coming out of the mist is 5 other Atlantean guardsmen in their stupid-looking armor. And he's like, oh, no, we got to go now. So him and his 20 men looking at 5 guardsmen is like, we're done plundering for the day, boys. We got to go. I was like, what?
That was so lame. They just put their heads down and walked away in shame as they're middle of pillaging this village.
We'd have gotten away with it, too, if it weren't for those pesky guardsmen. So stupid.
Drat those Atlanteans ruining our fun.
We barely got to the pillaging part. We had just got done killing the last villager. But the thing about it was they don't like visually show how that could have been possible or even likely. Visually, it was like, this is stupid. Why don't you just go kill them too?
Yeah,
what are they going to give a slightly more of a fight than the villagers have? Like, I don't want anybody hitting back. Like,
well, and they established these raiders in the very beginning of the episode. They have like these 2 of them are like, or one of them is the raider, and the other is like, I guess, a prisoner they had, and so they're fighting.
No, so the other one is
kills them.
I do pay attention. I know what's going on in the show. For those of you that want to be upset,
you can be upset at me. I don't know what the hell's going on.
Yeah, whatever. That guy was the son of the old man that you thought was really interesting. He had like he was the one that had all the priests in chains and stuff.
That was him?
That was his son. So the son was going to the Saxons and being like, hey, my dad just died, and you swore a blood oath, so you're going to join me and fight against the brothers now. And they're like, oh, well, this guy, so they kick him in the fire and kill him. See, I do pay attention.
Oh, well, that guy, okay, believe it or not, I actually do remember that guy. I meant the guy.
because he's actually good.
Well, yeah, I meant the guy before. He's like, because it's a show of strength. Like, the Raiders just kill one of their prisoners.
Yeah.
And so you're like, okay, these guys are tough. And then that other guy shows up and like asks for their help or whatever. And he's like, yeah, we'll give you your help. And then he kicks him into the fire.
Yeah.
And then is like, whatever, we're going to pillage and our provisions are going to come from the people we pillage. And so that seemed like a very intentional decision to establish that these guys are tough. You don't mess with these evil raiders. They mean business.
Unless you got a couple of guys in really bad looking armor, then
that's true.
That's where we draw the line. For whatever reason.
If you have that, then yeah, maybe you bested them.
Yeah. This is scary. We still outnumber you, but we're gonna call it a day.
We're harping up on this point, but this is like just one of many instances.
Yeah.
Like it happens again and again and again. In the same episode, you're just like, dude, so where should we go to next?
The worst of which, let's just jump to it, because I think it was great, was this assault on this fortress.
Okay, let me do this one.
Okay.
So, Merlin...
You want to talk bad tactics, man. Ugh.
So Merlin shows up on horseback with his whole
He's already recruited an army.
He's
So,
he's
one
got
of the
an army with
fortresses.
him.
Yep.
Or what appears to be a portion of it, right? So they ride up to the front of this gate. It's kind of rainy out. It's kind of dark out. And then there's a guy at the top of the gate who's just like, who goes there? And then
This
Merlin's
looks like Monty Python already. I fart in your general direction.
And Merlin's like, we're here to like, basically like subjugate you guys in no short of words or whatever. And then they're like, well, we're not going to do that. And so they get a bunch of guards to flank him. And then they start firing arrows and, they hit one. And then Merlin's like, oh, well, if that's the way it's going to be, then we're going to take your fortress. And they're like, yeah, right. And so we both said this at the same time. Simultaneous dialogue. I wish we could have recorded it because that's legitimately how it happened. The camera pans down. The gates open up.
Yeah, he's got a perfectly good moat and walls. Why would you do this? And why were you ready?
And they're all ready. Yeah, they come charging out with like weapons and shields and stuff. And it's like, so you knew you were being attacked?
Yeah, did you know he was coming?
I
guess maybe you did, but that guard looked surprised. He's like, who are you? What are you doing here?
Why was he asking so many questions?
Yeah.
So you give up your, even if like, I mean, it's like so many steps wrong and it's all painfully obvious. I feel stupid explaining it. But Merlin rode up to the front. Why didn't he just take a couple people with him?
Right.
And then say,
Pull the
we want to
Black
have
Gate
a
maneuver.
talk.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, we're just going to have a talk. Let me in. I'm Merlin. Get out of my way. And when they say no, be like, there's the signal. And then your troops come in and launch a volley of arrows or whatever. You could do a siege, something like that. But I guess you don't need to because they're going to open up the gate. So he must have thought that part through.
They open the front door.
He's
like,
wiser than I.
Look,
That's
we're going to fight on my turf, okay? What? Come in the house and fight.
But it doesn't even stop there because they're fighting and Merlin is watching this fight forever. He's just standing there brooding, watching people get massacred.
He's on his horse, well within the range of archers, right? Right outside the line of battle. He's like, And then much to contemplate today.
And then till he decides, all right, that's enough of that. And then he lets out this like roar. He says something.
He says more can't.
More can't.
Which is
that's right.
He's the king of the fortress.
Yeah, just more can't. And then everyone stops fighting. And then it cuts away. And when it cuts back, he's just talking to Morcant. And so you're like, I guess we're going to talk now?
Right. We have made some jumps here. So when he shouts it, the clouds roll away and it stops raining. It becomes clear out. Here's the thing. So initially, were I to hear you without seeing the episode, I'd be like, okay, maybe they don't have the budget to accomplish some of the things that you're saying, right?
Okay, sure.
Let's say that that's a premise. I would then counter with saying, well, but here's the thing. Rather than going through the entirety of having this fight play out at all, just say, yeah, you're not coming in these walls. Demonstrate Merlin's power by him like breaking open the gate or rolling away the clouds.
Saying
whatever.
More can't, and then rolling away the clouds. Sure. Yeah. Then they'd be like, whoa.
They're like, we should probably open. We don't know what else this guy can do. So let's just let him in and hear him talk. We don't have to let the army in.
Right.
But we'll let the emissary come through and they can have their banter. I know he wanted a fight scene. I know.
We get that.
But there's plenty
But you had an opportunity with the bandits.
Right.
It's not our fault that you had them chicken out.
Yeah, they walked away. So that's the thing is like you dedicated your resources in the incorrect way. Now, this might be because the book is beholding them to these events in the order that they're happening. But then I would have a problem with the book as well. It's like,
yeah, it doesn't make sense.
This doesn't make any sense, man. Like now that you've officially shown us, it makes even less sense. And that's the thing is when he comes up and he's like, let us in. And he's like, no. I was like, okay, that's cool. We got some tension, right? We've got established ideologies here. One wants the gate open, the other one doesn't.
Ideologies.
but then they shoot like 6 arrows and they're like, let the army outside. Oh, and we both leaned forward on the couch. We're like, why'd you open the gates? Like,
yeah, do you not have any more arrows? You said it. Which isn't true because you see the arrows horribly CGI'd in, just like
they're flying through as the stuff's happening. Yeah, I was like, dude,
Ugh,
terrible. Terrible.
so bad.
So those are a couple of problems we have. Let's jump.
Those are the major problems. If the show isn't ruined for you just based on those things alone, we got some more ammunition coming your way, but I don't know how you're withstanding it. I mean, this is just incomprehensibly bad. Like, I mean, just basic battle tactics. I'm not asking for anything fancy because, like you said, you don't even need the battle.
No.
Like, there's just a more effective way of conveying
The tension
this
would be more compelling if they didn't.
Right. Yeah, because then they'd be on the verge and then be like, is this going to break out into a fight or what?
Well, because the other thing I was thinking about, like, and I understand that some of this comes as a sacrifice, so whatever. But the problem was that none of this needed to happen, and that's already looming in my head. But then I'm like, oh, wait, he's trying to recruit this guy. So they just pitched their armies together. Let's say these guys got 100, these guys got 100. They both go in, 50 die on each side, right?
Yeah.
Then they join armies, and they're still with 100 guys. So it's like, the math probably isn't that cut and dry. But I was like, this still is stupid. We all understand why this is stupid, right? Like, I get some of its subjugation, but the rest of it is like, you still need more to your army. This is counterintuitive to your goal, but whatever. Okay, sure. Let's move on.
But it's indicative of like a lack of consequence to anything.
Right.
Like, what's his name? Aurelius, you were saying he like goes in to fight those bandits on his own. And then the bandits don't put up a fight. And so what that means now is because they don't fight back against the Atlanteans and they just walk away, now there's really no consequence for any of these characters. The whole episode, Merlin's hot mom and Aurelius go out and rebel, and then they get in some trouble, and then they come back, and the king's like sitting there in his chair, you know, getting cozy, and is like, you know, you guys shouldn't have done that.
I have been warming my chair all day. All right. And then I hear you guys are outside doing things I said not to do. I guess that's okay. All right. That's fine. That's all right.
And he's like, you know, Aurelius, you're going to make a good king. I was like, no, he's not. He's a terrible king. Yeah. He nearly got himself killed for no reason.
The first thing he did was like, I'm going to go die real quick. I'm just going to ride into this.
Don't tell him that. You're going to give him a false sense of security. This is a learning session.
I mean, realistically,
unbelievable.
You should have recognized that situation and been like, so wait a minute. I got to send my daughter and 5 guardsmen out for any number of pillaging that might be going on, and they'll just walk away. It's not even a show of force. Like, I'm just get your butts out there. Let's go.
Just walk around.
Clean up our lands.
You can't be here.
Like, and
by order of the king.
Oh, fine. All right. Nah.
Yeah, because that's another great point. Yeah, it's like, why don't you just do that? This is a very easy
great,
way
valuable
to solve
information. Yeah.
the problem of the bandits. You just send them out a little escort of Atlanteans, and then they'll take care of that problem.
Yep.
So if they had fought back the bandits, they could have killed some of the guards. Merlin's hot mom could have gotten hurt. Maybe something like that.
I thought Aurelius was going to die.
Or captured.
Because I'm pretty sure that Uther is supposed to be Arthur. So he's got to come into the king's level.
Well, yeah, you could have killed Aurelius. I mean, you could have done anything. It's just like, basically the scene had little to do about nothing. It was just like, what does any of this matter then? I mean, you stopped the bandits, great. It was just to establish that Aurelius is like a noble man.
Right.
But it's like, okay, that was a lot of effort to just establish that. Like, I think he could just voice that. And then if he's going to take an action on it, great. But then there needs to be a trade-off. There needs to be a give and take here. And there's just none of that. They're just like, don't you see? He's noble. It's like, I got it.
Neat.
Hey.
Okay, so let's jump into our favorite part of this.
Oh, yes.
Which is the betrayal. So back in episode 3. Okay. So back in episode 3, we had discussed this really terrible subplot where Uther is going in to kill Merlin.
Right.
In the middle of the night, he's got his knife, he's going into his tent, and you're like, this guy's going to kill him? I was like, I don't really understand why he's got such a problem enough to kill him, but all right, okay, at least there's some kind of tension here.
Right.
And then fails.
And everybody sees it, and they're just like...
And they just give him this like disappointed face, but they're like, but we've got other matters to attend to right now. We're not going to revisit this. Let's go. They revisit this subplot again.
And the way they do it is he...
Almost compelling, by the way.
Almost. Yeah, but they flush this one down the drain too. They go to recruit a king and his forces or whatever, and Merlin's like, well, I'm the rightful heir of this land, and the king there, he's like a steward. He's exactly like
familiar?
a steward.
Stop.
Anyways, he's like, oh yes, it's your birthright or whatever, so you can have all this. And Merlin's like, okay. And so Merlin's going through negotiations for most of the episodes, trying to get them to, like, I guess he's trying to persuade.
Mhm.
I mean, he seems like he could just order them, but whatever. Anyways, as that's happening, the steward's son doesn't like Merlin because the steward's son is like, well, this should be my heirloom now. He's been gone for like 3 generations, so screw him. It's my birthright now at this point. And so that's good. That's tension because now we're like, well, what's this guy going to do? I mean, he seems like a wild card. He doesn't like that people are kicking in his door and taking away what he believes to be rightfully his. So we're like, ooh, kind of Game of Thronesy here. Interesting. And then this guy gets in, what's his name? Uther. He takes Uther along and it's just like, I mean, he doesn't really, but it's too ridiculous to recount how they just like force the scene to happen. Anyways, the two are talking and he's like, we have tales about Merlin here somehow. There's like been prophecies and Merlin's a bad guy. So you got to take him out. And Uther's like, you're right. I got to do that. He's just like instantly convinced.
He's like, right on. I needed a reason. Here it is.
Yeah. So then you're thinking to yourself, okay, so now we've established that he's going to plot against Merlin. You're like, all right, that's interesting. Right. So you're thinking he's going to start scheming. He's going to start laying plans. Mm-hmm. He's going to wait for the opportune moment. Nope. He grabs a knife and turns around. And then who should be there but Merlin's right-hand man, the other...
Whatever his name is, yeah. The weird comic relief character.
Yeah, and he's like, I know what you're doing. I'm going to protect Merlin. This is wrong, Uther. And he's like, get out of my way. And so then they fight. I hesitate to call it that, but they
roll around.
Yeah, they wrestle.
I was kind of hoping that the guy would die, personally.
Well, then something would happen as a consequence. Because we're burning the betrayal plot. We're burning it up.
Instantly.
We're not using it whatsoever.
Yeah, that should have been a source of tension over a couple episodes. That should have been like a 2-3 episode arc.
Like, it was a problem in the last one. Because we're like, okay, where are we going with this? And so then they reintroduce it just to slap it back down again and be like, now we're done with it. It's just like, dude.
Why'd you bring it up?
Is this a point or not? Is this a plot or not?
But this time, Uther changes now. But here's the thing. Right. It's not even the friend that resolves it. That's the worst part.
Yeah.
He's the one that goes to foil it. But then Uther gets away from it and runs out to go try and charge Merlin. And then Merlin stops him with magic to force him to hear what the king is saying to him.
Mm-hmm.
And the king says, yeah, I pledge my allegiance to your brother Aurelius, and I get to remain king of this town or whatever. So Merlin doesn't accept his birthright as king of this place. And also, he's accomplishing this task of bringing this aid to Aurelius, which is apparently what Uther's problem is. He doesn't think that Merlin is trying to help build Aurelius's army.
I love how it's apparently this is a problem, because we don't really know.
Nothing that Merlin has done has proven that is not his aim. It's like, none of this has been at all vague. It's like, this is the only thing he's been doing.
Yeah.
So where does your distrust come from? He's just this like really angsty emo teen. And then because Merlin forces him to sit there and hear what happens, he's like, oh, you're totally trustworthy now. We're good. We're friends now. Dude, again, removing consequences. Merlin doesn't like hold it against him. He doesn't distrust him. He's just kind of like, I understand your distrust, but do we understand each other now? And he's like, yeah. It's like when Faramir...
Are you really going to carry this guy with you? He's trying to murder you twice. Twice!
He almost killed your best friend. This is like when Faramir looks at Frodo and he's like, I think at last we understand each other, Frodo Baggins. But without any of the buildup. Like, the payoff does not work. The payoff works there because Faramir has he actually has alternative designs. And Frodo knows that it's not going to work.
Right.
But Faramir doesn't understand that, and he's the weight of his father and stuff. This one, Merlin doesn't have any ulterior motives. There's nothing, like, I don't even understand what Merlin wants. I know what he doesn't want. He's very clear about that all the time. And, like, that was one of the things they show up, is that his mom hands him the sword that she gave to his father in the previous episodes. Yeah. He picks it up and starts having these visions, and he's like, I can't hold this. This is a tool of destruction. It's like, what are you seeing? What is on this sword? you did this, like, would we kill a god or something? And like every time it's like the spirit of, it's weird. It's
it's like some
what's
Macbeth
happening?
moment where he like takes the blade. Oh my gosh, I can't control myself.
It's so weird.
Where's that coming from?
Yeah.
I mean, because Merlin has these visions all over the place, and right at this point, it's starting to get irritating because they just don't know what his powers are. Like, what can he do? What can he not do? Like, even with Gandalf, yeah, they never really established like the full range of it, but for the most part, you grasp that like, okay, he can work with light, he can work with like things that have to do to counter the shadow. He can do things that you would anticipate being effective against that.
Yeah.
So if there's Nazgul flying in, he can cast a beam of light and get rid of them. If, the the Balrog, a shadow and flame monster is going to hit you, he can put up a shield and protect himself because he is summoning good to block that.
Sure.
So it's like very basic, very simple stuff. But like Merlin, what can he do? He can shout really loudly.
Yeah.
He can part clouds.
Uh-huh.
And he has visions.
Yeah.
But like, he's
supposed to be like a druid or something, so I think like earth power, something like that.
Okay.
Here's the thing.
It's so vague.
Merlin, it's supposed to be a vague character. He's a wizard, which is okay, fine. But even with Gandalf, when you didn't fully understand all of what he was doing in the moment, it came together to make sense later.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, you're leaving us in our time of need right now. It's like, no, you don't. It'll make sense later. Just shut up and wait.
Yeah.
And then he shows up and you're like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
So even when it's vague, like, he has a purpose, and the purpose is always going to be for the greater good.
Yeah.
And like, all right, great. With Merlin, it's just like, what are you just tagging along? You could essentially take Merlin, remove him from this whole story, and just tell it from Uther's side.
Yeah.
Wouldn't change much.
The same thing. Yeah.
Pretty much the same thing. He wouldn't have the birthright for that town or whatever, but it would still be the same conversation. Help my brother, you have a blood oath or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
It would just be like Last Kingdom. Like, hey, you swore an oath. Like, so we're banding together or we aren't, and you're a traitor. Like, I'm going to call the Weregild or whatever. That's the thing. It's like, you could take him out and it wouldn't change much. There's not enough tying Merlin down to the base of the story for this to warrant him being the main character.
Unfortunately so. Yeah, it's pretty bad. So we've got two other things we got to cover.
Okay.
We will end on a positive note, though, but we got to get this other one out of the way.
Okay.
You just mentioned Last Kingdom, an infinitely better show.
Unfortunately.
Last Kingdom is amazing. Just go watch that.
Yep.
But there's something else you could watch, which is Lord of the Rings.
Yep. Which is referenced a couple times here. I know I'm going to get some people like, oh, that was in the book. The book was written before the movies came out. Whatever, dude. Here's the thing.
They know. Lord of the Rings is now in the public consciousness.
Yeah, it's there.
So you gotta be careful about how much you are overtly ripping off lines out of it.
Yep. There's a king character who literally says, we are too few. I was like,
that was the part that was too
familiar.
much. Because he said a line before that where he was like, what would you have me do? Something like that.
Yeah.
Like, what would you have us do? And I was like,
right out to meet
that's
them.
really
Wait, no,
pushing it. And you were like, you're like, oh, come on. And I was like, well, maybe, it's a little bit, but it's a similar story. I'll give him some space. Yeah. And then he was like, we're too few. And I was like, come on. What is this scene? It's just like asking an AI to write out the scene. And it's like, just, Lord of the Rings, like use some medieval fantasy.
Some high fantasy.
Dialogue to convey this scene happening. Got it. And then it just like recycles Lord of the Rings lines. And then they just went back in and cut out like Rohan, Gondor.
Yeah.
Like just
I was half expecting the beacons to be used. Like, because it was from one king to another king. An outcast king. I was like, dude, come on. Just chill out. Be your own thing. Be your own thing. It's cool. It's a cool idea. Arthurian legends are great. Just chill out.
That one had to be said though, because it was a lot. Like it was really bad in that one scene, but it was all over it because there was that whole other sequence with Morcant and he's talking to him. And when he goes into a chamber, he's eating these like grapes or whatever, and it's just like
I was like, man, is he gonna ask us to sing a song too? Like,
I don't have any songs for
Great halls.
Great halls, yeah. I'll send my son, the one who will not fail me.
Yeah, it's like Merlin because Merlin doesn't do as much singing as his father did, but he does play a harp or whatever. So I was like, oh, you could fit it in here. He just pulls out his lyre. Home is behind. Like, wait a minute. No, don't do it here.
Yeah, and then just have like he's like, you wish now our armies had not fought.
I know.
Yes,
I wish that.
That I had asked to come into your good graces.
Yes. So stupid. Okay,
All
let's
right.
do the last thing. We'll end on a positive note, which
Yeah,
I gotta say, visually, and also back to our original good point. Music is phenomenal, and in this episode specifically,
It's
incredible.
This was probably the best in
give
terms of
that
music.
man a raise. Kyle, you are holding this thing together yourself, sir.
Yeah, he's incredible. He's doing a great job.
Very talented.
One of the few.
Yeah. Also the acting caliber. It varies, but Merlin specifically.
Yeah, Merlin's good.
Morgan is really good.
Yeah.
And then Merlin's mom also, she's decent.
She holds her own. And her dad,
yes,
I think he's
the
fine.
Atlantean King
he's
also,
good.
the Fisher King or whatever.
Yeah.
Everyone
Everyone else, no.
not as great. Yeah, Uther's trying way too hard to do his Henry Cavill impression, and it's like, dude, stop.
He is making his voice absurdly deep. Once you said it, I was like, yeah, that's what's happening. Because he's so like, whoa. Oh, yeah, and all his lines, too, his one-liners. He's just like, what, am I not pleasant enough company for you?
Yeah, look, no, you tried to kill me twice, and your voice is really annoying, sir. Also, you were shirtless for a whole scene for no reason. He's like, killed this rabbit. I'm pretty manly right now.
Yeah.
I dehydrated myself for 6 days for this scene, so appreciate it, please. Stupid. Okay, so the last bit. Morgan has another scene, and this scene was pretty great. I was like, we could have just done this, honestly. We should have had just Morgan and Merlin have their own show. Honestly. This should have been it. And I was noticing they do a transition, and she's now looking, and I think we said this in the first episode too. Mm-hmm. She gets this stone that she can see into.
This crystal.
It's
and she
so
sees
cool.
Other characters,
it's so cool.
Like riding horses and stuff and traveling, and she's like it's so great.
It's so Disney villain-esque, and I was like, this is like 80s fantasy. Just do an 80s fantasy show at this point. Like, just go ham. Like, give it the He-Man treatment of being like, just, you got this real kind of like dumbed down, masculine, overly buff character as your main antagonist or protagonist. Merlin is kind of like this slightly more mysterious wizard.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're both fighting against Morgana. Just do that.
Yeah.
It's probably way easier. It's way more charming. It's going to look campier, but that's the point. Because like even this looked pretty campy. But like in the best of ways, of like her looking into this crystal is like, man, you could have had like the smoke and the cauldron and like a cat walking behind. Like that would have been it was so cool. Like,
yeah. And if you play into that, then it's like it becomes more forgivable when you have like some of the bad effects, because they have some bad CGI in this,
right?
A couple of times, and it's like their ask is to look past that, and I'm like, well, I'm trying, but
there's nothing else.
Nothing
to see.
Makes sense. Nothing makes sense. And then the other thing is like every scene is so dramatic.
It is.
It's just like, oh my gosh. And it's like, dude, I don't have the capacity to do this hour after hour after hour. There's no humor. There's no levity. It's just like, my gosh.
That's why in epics, you have the quintessential characters that help bring it back down a couple levels.
Yeah.
Merry and Pippin, R2 and C-3PO. Mm-hmm. Like, those are the characters that will be like, take a breather. Take a break. Not going on. It's okay to like remember, oh yeah, we're still characters in this. We want to be with this party.
And then it enhances the drama.
Right.
And this, I think if they did the cheesy 80s thing, you could still have good drama in there too. Because when you want to be dramatic, we're going to feel it because you've already won us over. We're enjoying ourselves because it's charming, right? And then when you have a moment of pathos, then it will be earned. And so it's just like, but they want this like Game of Thrones, Last Kingdom type of show. And it's just, or Lord of the Rings.
Right.
Excuse me.
The amount of references.
But yeah, that was the best part. I mean, I loved how it's like but because it's like a love-hate thing. Because you were saying when we first see Morgan and all of like where she lives, it's like this evil black castle,
Right.
With like
Which
green...
is overt, which the show is trying not to do on average.
Right. It wants it to be taken serious drama, and it's like we're looking at that going, well, this seems kind of cheesy, like because it's just evil.
This is the Emperor's throne room, guys. You're not fooling me.
Right.
She's in green. I was
and
like,
they're like eating vegetables for dinner, and they're
it's
all like these
pitch
green
dark,
vegetables.
There's not a lot of light coming in. The moonlight's castle. I was like,
yeah,
and
this dark castle. It's like this makes like,
yeah,
right.
This belongs in a different film.
Yeah. I mean, even the shot, like, later on, like, dark as it was, but this was where you'd have the room to be edgy, because she's, like, talking with this, like, or summoning the creepy goat guy.
Yeah.
But, like, we don't see him at first. We just see her, and she, like, we just see her back. She has, like, her top off, and she's, like, rubbing blood on herself. So it's just like, whoa.
One does.
Holy cow. Like, this is creepy scene, right? So, like, if you did something like that.
How do you think she keeps looking young? It's blood of virgins. It's just.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Get it in there. Make sure moisturize. Sometimes a horned god shows up, but
if you did that in an 80s fun
Right.
kind of show, it would still work because we'd be like, whoa,
it would
dang.
add some gravitas. Yes.
Right. It would give her this level of like just a presence to her. I mean, it was pretty effective. Just that I was like, okay, she's gross. This is nasty.
Yeah.
But the problem, of course, is in a serious drama, I want to know like the motivations matter so much more.
Sure.
She can't just be cackling, into the crystal as
Right.
much as I would appreciate that. But like her motivations are just like, I don't know. She's just a creepy weirdo now.
She got rejected by Merlin, who
I
she
guess
didn't
that's
know
it.
at all, and now she's just evil. It's like, all right,
That's
but
just so shallow.
it is.
There's nothing
Give
there.
me, give me more here.
Yeah.
Like at least it made sense with Cersei, because she had motivations that were extremely clear and almost sympathetic to some level. Because it's like, one, she's finding. So she's basically engaging in this, and it's worse in the book because she's a twin, an identical twin to her brother.
Ugh.
So it's really kind of a look at narcissism. They love each other, but in doing so, they love themselves more than anything else. But it's like this is all that they have in this kind of nasty world.
Yeah.
And so they find that like little zone, and then they birth children, and then her new motivation is protecting her children. It doesn't matter what it takes.
Yeah.
And she knows that if anybody found out where those children came from, that it would all be over. So she has to take extreme measures to protect them. So like everything that she's doing outwardly seems really evil, but at the end of the day, it's like she's protecting her kids. So like you can at least understand that motivation despite all
Right.
the other garbage that surrounds it.
Yeah.
This one, it's like Morgana, you're just like, well, wait, what's going on here?
She's just butthurt that a boy didn't like want to
Right.
go out with her.
Didn't want to hold her hand the first time she
What?
saw him. Like, okay. So then this is reason enough to bathe yourself in blood and call this horned god into your dark chambers. I was like, ugh, okay, sure.
That's not enough reason for
I
you?
mean, what I've done doesn't work as well. I'm not as hot, but whatever. I've
that's
tried
true.
anyway. All right. But I've been rejected by the god. So how evil do you think that makes me? Anyway,
Hey.
yeah. So all that to say, not impressed. Don't like the show. Don't think, even if the books are good, I don't think they're doing it justice. But I've not read the book, so I can't speak to that.
Yeah, I mean, it's just an incomprehensible mess for the most part. And then when it starts to come together, you're just like, wait, what? Yeah, what a disaster. What a just complete catastrophe of a show.
Yeah.
But
And
again,
they keep teasing Brett Cooper, and you're just like, look, at least the recognizable face we welcome at this point. And she's like, oh, I'm not here yet. I'm like, oh, come on.
yeah, I'm like, maybe if she could get on screen, she could kind of help this project. But I feel like the issue is so rooted in the writing,
Right.
and not even necessarily a line by line concern, but just a total inability to understand what do we need? How do we convey the focus of each
Right.
of these characters so that way the audience understands where everyone's allegiances are, what they want. Like that son character, I'm like, I get it. He wants his birthright as he sees it.
Right.
That was a very clear motivation. But then Merlin's like, well, I don't want the birthright, and he just leaves. And then the other son's like, all right, well, good for you guys.
Guess we're good now.
He should still be resentful. He should be like, that guy could come back and change his mind.
Sure.
And if he does, what then?
Yeah,
So he
have
should
some kind of lasting consequence of some kind somewhere.
Yeah, nothing's permanent. Nothing carries over. It's like you could just skip every episode, and it's like you're not missing a thing. because
pretty
it's like
much.
nothing really develops.
You
Like,
could
what have
honestly
we
have
gained?
started at this episode and you'd be just fine.
You say that about every episode. It's kind of freakishly weird.
I know.
Like
Yeah, how do you
nothing
do-
gets
how do you-
accomplished ever.
How do you do this? Yeah.
Ay,
Anyway, don't like.
I'm
Not
beat.
a fan.
I'm beat. I can't do anymore.
I'm gonna make him sit through one more episode. Anyway, leave your comments as to why you disagree or why you agree. And let us know. If you've read the books, let us know how it measures up. Actually, I'd be curious to hear.
Agreed.
Yeah, leave a like, comment, subscribe. Sorry we've been so harsh, but also I'm not sorry we've been so harsh. This is a terrible show. Thanks for watching. So you made it to the end of the video. If you liked it, please consider subscribing and leave us a comment. We'd love to hear what you thought.